Hi, and welcome to May 16th. I am going to be making a card for you. This is the card that I am going to be making today, and I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with you. Just before I do, let me just pop on here and just wish you all the best. We have a beautiful sunny day here this afternoon in Salisbury, New Brunswick. I'm Laura Sherwood, and I'm so glad you have joined me. We have an annual catalog that began in May. It has so many beautiful stamp sets in it. This month, as I come on to the Mystery Stamping Hour and YouTube, I will be highlighting the stamp set, Color and Contour. So this is it. Just give me a sec. Here we go. Color and Contour. So this is the stamp set, and in some cases the dies that I'll be highlighting. And today's card also uses some of the new in color cardstock. So let's have a look and we'll get started. Give me a moment and I'll get us set up here. There we go. I think we're good. All right, let's get started. We're going to talk about some of the dimensions of the pieces. First of all, when I have card kits, for those who purchase my card kits, I always give a sheet of instructions and some of the items that we're using. As I mentioned, Color and Contour stamp set is the stamp set that I'm using. As well, I am using the open weave 3/8 inch ribbon, and this is one of our new, some of our new colors. One of the new colors is the Fresh Freesia, I think it's pronounced. One of the new colors. Also, Soft Succulent. It's a beautiful, beautiful green that we're going to be using. And you'll see that I also have those colors in the two pieces of the cardstock that I'm using, as well as Misty Moonlight and Basic White. So let's talk about those dimensions. So inside the card, it's your standard 5 1/4 by 4 for inside. The outside is the Misty Moonlight. That is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And then I have this little frame piece, I am calling it, because it's going to frame the sentiment, which is going to get stamped onto the Basic White. And this little piece is 2 inches by 1 3/4. And the little sentiment piece is 1 1/2 by 1 3/4. As well, we have these 2 strips of the new in color paper, and each of them are 1 1/2 by 3 1/4. So let's get started. I'm going to set these aside, and you'll see also, I'll mention it now, that these are embossed, and I've actually used 2 different embossing folders, and they both come in this embossing folders called Meadow Moments, and it comes with both folders, and I use both of them to actually emboss for this card. So the first thing that we are actually going to do is we are going to adhere those 2 embossed pieces onto my card front. So give me a second and I'll grab some glue. So I'm just using the regular Tombow liquid glue on the back. You could do this with your tape runner as well. And if I can tell there's glue in it, but it doesn't seem to want to come out. Oh, the joy. I should have checked that beforehand. So let's grab another one, and actually I'm going to grab some tape. We'll see what this does. This will work just fine. So either way, for the sake of time, I will get that piece done, glued. All right, this is my stamp and seal, and I'll put some on this piece as well. Now, we are just going to set them on the left-hand side of the card front. And I'm just going to check to make sure I'm in camera, and I am. So we're going to take this piece, and I'm just going to, basically when I'm setting it up, I'm just looking at the border is both the same all the way around. And then I'm going to take this piece, and always watch if there's an upside downside to your embossing pictures to get them. So I'm going to basically try to get approximately the same space between as I have on the top and bottom. So that part is ready to go, and I'm just going to set it aside. And the next piece I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to stamp, and I'll stamp the, really this piece here, you're really creating your own designer series paper. And so I'm going to stamp this next. So it's a couple of different processes that we're going to be, a couple different steps that we're going to be stamping. So I will just put that here. And the first thing I am going to stamp is with Magenta Black. And I'm just going to randomly take my flower that is in the stamp set with the stems, and I'm going to ink it up. Then after I ink it up, I'm just going to basically randomly put it on my, stamp my pieces, because I'm going to be coloring or stamping that with the other colors. And I'm just going to turn it around, give it a little bit different look. There we go. You want to just get some randomness, just as if it were a designer series paper. And maybe I'll put one this way. And we have some little buds that we can stamp on here as well. Maybe we'll turn this one this way. Oops. And maybe one more, or just the edge of a flower here. And maybe an edge of a flower over here. There we go. So I have done that. I'm going to grab I keep in my little folder, plastic folder, my simple chamois that are wet. And so I'm going to pull one of those out, and I use that to clean my stamps. Always stop for a moment and give your stamps a nice cleaning. And actually, as I do that, I realize that I need to stamp the inside as well. So I really didn't need to clean it yet. I'm just going to step that aside. So inside, this is the piece. And what I did is I just stamped up one side like this, and then color. I actually used blends on this one to color it in. So let's do that. So let's get all our stamping done at once. Wonder what the day is like where you are. Here, again, it's been kind of cloudy first thing this morning, or sunny and then cloudy. And right now the sun is shining. We were sitting out on our front veranda, and it was a little cool. I had a sweater on, but it was still a little cool. So we went to our back patio and was able to really enjoy the sunshine and really take in the warmth. It's sheltered, so it seemed to be a little nicer. Sat out there, had our lunch, and had a cup of coffee, decaf coffee at this time of day for me anyway. I don't know about you, if you are a decaf coffee in the afternoons. We do breakfast, and then anything after that is going to be decaf. So I'm just going to put this away. And you'll notice how the new stamp sets are set up. They actually have the, or the reverse side, which is when you set that down, how it looks. And it really is great because it gives you a quick look into the stamp set to see if you have everything there. And this is actually the speckles, and this is actually the flower. And I think I need to clean that stamp a little more, but that's going to be okay for right now. So those two things are done. Now the other thing I need to do is to stamp my sentiment, and that is on this little piece that we have. And I'll just flip this paper over. Maybe you'll be able to get a bit better view. And so this says, "So very happy for you." And I'm just going to stamp it, make sure I do it in the right way, because this is goes in this direction. This is not square. So I want to make sure I get it in the same way as one I've already done. Oh, this is very happy for you. And I was going to do the thank you very much on this one. So sorry about that. We will just pull that out. So thank you for everything. So that must be the thank you for everything there. We'll put this one away. It goes this way. There we go. Back in its place. Are you like me? Do you like putting your stamps away right away? Because I find if I don't, I seem to lose track of them. So there it is. So thank you for everything. We're just going to ink that up. And I may need to have to re-ink my stamping Memento stamp pad. All right, so let me see if I can put this on here somewhat evenly without putting my head in front of the camera. So there we go. So that is that one. And we're also going to be going around the edge with the soft succulent to give a little bit of a difference to that, but that's done for now. So that is the inside and outside done with the Memento black, but we have some other steps to go through. So I am going to put away, no, I can leave that one there. I won't lose track of that. So we are going to go back to this and we're going to color it in. So to color it in, I'm using the other step in the stamping that's supplied in this set. And I'm going to go and just use a variety of colors with this. I'll just need to clean it in between. So here is the piece I stamped. And I am going to be just taking, and I'm going to take my stamp. Now you may want to kind of look, okay, the bud is there, so that makes it easy to know where that bud goes. So I'm going to do this one. Now, if you don't want it the full strength of your ink, do a second generation stamp. So you stamp off once, and then you go on here, and you stamp the second time. And again, I'm just lining it up with the bud and trying to see if that, and it's meant to give almost like a watercolor color look, a rough look. So there's that. I'm just doing the one. So that is the lighter one. And again, if you wanted the darker, you would just do the first generation. And I am going to clean that stamp because I'm going to a different color with my simple chamois to do the cleaning. And we will close this. Always good to close your ink pads as you use them so they don't dry out. Now I'm using Daffodil Delight as well for some of the flowers. So again, I'm just going to use full strength on this one. I'm just going to do this up. And again, because I know that's the little rosebud that's there and the rosebud that's here, it makes it easier for knowing where to place it. So there we go. All right, so there's that one. And I think I'll do another yellow. And I think I'll do yellow over here. And I want to use the fresh freesia as well. And so I'm going to do that one. And maybe we'll do this one here. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to see to line it up. I hope my head isn't in the camera. Oops, I'm off a little bit, but that's again fine. It's very forgiving. So there's that one. So we're going to clean that up. Now I'm going to go. Now I may go back and do other colors, but for now we'll just kind of build it as we go and decide on what colors I would like to have. So this is the fresh freesia. I should look that up, see how to pronounce it. And we're going to load this stamp, and I am going to, and again, really in essence, you're making your own DSP, your designer series paper. And last week when I did the card, I actually used designer series paper. So I wanted to show how to use these double step stamps. And so to do that, I figured the best way was to make my own paper, as it were. And so I'm just going to do that. I think I'll do this, which I think goes this way. And again, as I try not to put my head in the camera. And I think that might be the bud. Or is that this one? It might be this one. Yes, it is, I think. We'll do there. There we go. And I'm going to, I think I got some on the edge there. So we're just going to go back and do this. We'll see what happens. There we go. And now, what shall we do? What shall we do? I think I'll do one more of this. And again, it's almost easier when you can see the bud, because you know the bud goes, the little piece that's on the, goes there on the bud. And I think that's pretty close. And I love it that these stamps are so forgiving. They look good whether you get it right on or not. I'm far from being able to do this perfectly. And so being able to have that sense of forgiveness is so good. And I think I'm going to do this last one. I'm actually, every one will be different because of the fact that depends on where you stamp your black images. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to stamp one of these, and I am going to load up the ink. Always be careful not to stamp too hard on that, because you don't want to, and I might do this one full strength, and that way you can just see the variation in it. But it is it's great being able to create, even if you didn't have designer series paper. It'd be wonderful to be able to create your own. I'm just trying to see what I've got here. And this gives you the option to create your own. So there's that, and that will dry a little lighter. And I'm going to clean up my stamp again. Always good to clean them right away. And I know the simple chamois looks like it's dirty, but actually it's stained, but works perfectly. So you just wet it, rinse it until it runs clear. And then I put it back in my case to keep them moist. And when they dry out, they go hard, and you just wet it again. So it's a great little tool to have. So the next thing we're going to do is actually the leaf. And the leaf I have, and I'm going to actually, excuse my arm, I'm actually going to switch my blocks here. I don't have a lot of blocks, so I do tend to have to switch them out. So the soft succulent is the green that I'm using. And it's actually also the one I'm going to use to go around the edges and give that nice little look. So just going to ink it up, and I've got some on my finger, and I'm going to find a leaf, which is right here. How are we going to do this? I think that's down farther or up farther. I am going to do it actually this way. It does not match exactly up, but it'll give me a little color on my page. So I'm going to do it like that. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm just going to give it a little, gives it a little color there. I think that one's good. And I'm looking for my simple chamois. And I think I might grab, I'm just going to clean the stamp. Again, I always clean my stamp. I think I'm going to grab my blends as well, just because I want to have a little more color of the green on that page. So these are the blends. And again, wonderful with Stampin' Up! Because you have the wonderful combination of colors that all go together. You have the wonderful colors that in the blends that match your ink, and it's a great way to get the look that you're looking for. And I'm just going to do that. I'm going to color in this little leaf. So this is the same color, the blend is the same color as the ink that I'm using. So I get to just go through and color that in. So that's great. That gives me that little bit of color that I wanted on my paper. There we go. And again, don't worry about perfection. It's going to look gorgeous. Now I want this out, and I want my little, you need a sponge of some sort. So the sponge I'm using is the Dabber, and I'm going to go around the edge of my sentiment, and I'm just going to ink it up, and then I'm going to go around the edge. And it's always good to do less first, and if you want to go back and add more, you can. Nope, I'm probably not up in there in the camera far enough. My apologies. There we go. So again, we're just going to decide on how much we want. You know the look you're going for. Part of it is experimentation and learning what you like. So I kind of like that. So there is that piece done. And then I'm going to take this piece, and I'm basically going to do the same thing. I am going to take my little dauber, and I'm going to go around the edges first. I'm not going to worry about going over the colors that I already have stamped. I'm not, I really just want that nice soft succulent to give dimension to my DSP, as it were, my designer series paper that I am creating. So then I'm going to put it down here. And if you noticed in the card that actually made, it actually goes in farther. And so what I'm doing is I'm just going to go and I'm very lightly going to brush out the colors that's left in the brush. I'm not going to put any more on it. And it's just going to give that nice background color to the designer series paper that I'm creating. So there you go. That's it. And you again can get the look that you want. That is the look that I was looking for. Now the other thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put my ribbon around the edge. So to do that, I'm actually going to go here and I'm going to wrap it here. So I'm going to cut it. And then after I cut it, I'll make with the remainder, I will use to make a bow. So we're going to do this, and I am going to decide which side. I think I'll do this side, maybe. Yeah, I think I'll do that side. And so I just cut a little piece so that I can glue it onto either on the back. I'll flip it over, and I'll just do a piece here and here. There we go. So I'm going to do here, just stick that down. Now, if you want to go from the front to make sure you have it relatively straight, there we go. So I have that. Now I'm going to make my bow. Now, I don't know how you make your bows. I have a couple of, sometimes I just tie them. Depending, I don't know if this piece of ribbon's long enough, but I also do this. I go around, oh it is. And so I have it wrapped around my fingers in a figure 8. So I start in the front of my baby finger. I go to the back of the next finger, depending on how big the bow is, which fingers I use. Then I do a figure 8 and come around again. Hold it with my thumb, these two pieces. Then I stick this piece through here. Then I come up around and I am going to tuck it in behind that loop. And that should go between, this piece here goes between my fingers right there. And if you can see that, and I tie it off, and there we go. I have a bow. I'll show you. And there is my bow. You can adjust the size of it. I think I'll go down a little smaller. And I'd be fussier about how much ribbon I used if I were not on camera, but because I'm on camera, I just want to be able to do it in an efficient time. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to use a glue dot and put it there. So I have my glue dot and I have my pick a tool, which I use all the time. And I'm going to pick up a glue dot off my roll, put it on the back, or decide which is the back. I'm going to tighten that a little bit. I think I'll use that for the front. And put the glue dot on. And we're just going to put that right there. And I'm just going to set this, well, this here will have dimensions on the back, so we might as well get the dimensions put on. So I have a fresh sheet of dimensions here, so I'm just going to pull those out. These are easy to handle. So again, for the sake of time, I mean, I always tell people to, if they're trying to conserve, I mean, they certainly could cut these in half or use the small ones. This is a big enough piece, and I think the large ones actually work really well. One in the middle. And I think I will one here and one there. And I mean, if you want to get crazy with them, which I think I will today, I'm going to put them right down the middle because I really do want this to have a good lift. So I'm not going to tear the pieces off the backing off yet, and I'm just going to set that aside. So that's good to go. I'm next going to take this and I am going to glue it on the frame, as I called it. And again, these are not square, so just make sure you have them going in the right direction. And my little frizzy pieces here on the side. There we go. Scraping with my fingernail. So this, when I put it on, I'm just going to check. So that's how it's going to go. It's right there. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to take my running tape and put that on the back like that, like so. And then I'm going to put it here again, just by eyeing it to get it. And you can see the green better once that gets on there. And this one is also going to have dimensionals on it. Now again, if I have some here, and I do, I think I'll use the small dimensionals for this one. And sometimes I use my pick tool for my dimensionals as well. Just depends on what your likes are. And again, I just find this such a functional tool. It's great on the other end, the putty end, to pick up sequences and that when you have cards with sequences. So there we go. So that's going to be, this is good to go. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to use our dimensionals and we're going to center this onto the card. And so I'm going to flip it over. And I'm just going to take off all the backings. You can see how easy that is with the pick tool. And I'm going to take these off. You probably can do 2 at a time. And the last one. There we go. So now that we're done with this mat, I think I'll move it out of the way. I'm going to set this down. So here is our card base. And so this is my designer series paper that I created. So I'm just basically going to eyeball it again and just center it in the card. So that's going to be raised. I'm going to take my sentiment that I have, and I'm going to take the dimensionals off of it with my pick tool. And you can do this with your fingernails, but I like the pick tool. Then I'm going to take the sentiment and I'm just going to put it here. There's the top and bottom here and here would be roughly the same distance, but other than that, this border would be narrower, just having it so it looks nice there. So there's the front of my card. So now I am going to go with yellow for the inside, but I am going to use my blends for the inside. Just going to grab them here, see if I've got the right color. Yes, light and dark daffodil. So when you use blends, I'm not sure how you use them. I'm no expert by any means, but I like to use this end. There's 2 different ends, and there's a harder sharp end that's pointy, and if you're doing fine work, but this is nice. And I'm just going to, it's light color. I'm just going to go over the flowers with the light one first. Then I'll come back and I'll give it dimension with the darker. And so when you order these, they actually come in the pair. So you get the light and the dark. So there's that. And again, always conscious of putting the caps on things. Excuse me. And I'm just going to come back. I'm going to go around the edges and kind of go around the centers as well. And then I can come back with my light and blend them in. So there's again, just trying to give the flower some dimension. You may be more artistic than me and be able to kind of give it an even nicer look. And I do like to have more, probably just get rid of the rough, the solid edges, but I like that little bit of difference in color in the flower with those 2. So I don't know if you can tell the difference, but I can. And then I'm going to take the light, just the light one, and the soft succulent. This is light soft succulent, and I'm going to, again, there's 2 ends, and I'm going to choose this end. So it's like to me, more like a painting tool, being able to have the brush. And again, honestly, you can go over the branches too if you want to. You can leave them. There you go. And if you decide you want to come back with to give more dimension and color for this one, you certainly can. And I will just do a little bit, and maybe for this one. There you go. As easy as that. Now I'm going to actually adhere this to the inside of my card. I'm not going to put a sentiment. Sometimes I like to wait if I want, or if we're in with a thank you note so much of the time. It's nice just to write a note. Excuse me for my voice. I think my allergies are really kind of hitting with all this pollen. The trees are budding, which is fabulous. And there we go. And so that's lots. I'll open up my card. I'll set this on the inside, and again, just trying to eyeball it for where it needs to go. And so we are somewhere around there. And there we go. There's the inside of my card. There's the outside. So I'm going to come back up here. Hopefully I haven't put my finger in front of the camera. I apologize if I did. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. And I hope that you enjoyed making this card. I also have another version of the card, and I'm going to show you as we end this, and it's with another stamp set. So let me show you this. So here's the other version, and the dimensions on the card are a little bit different. Excuse me as I get that right. So the dimensions are a little bit different on this one. Oh, I should turn it around properly. And so the dimensions that's different is just for this sentiment here. And I used the thread on this one, the linen thread. So the dimensions for the sentiment, let me see if I can find that for you. So we have, I have a sheet that's all done out for those that are in my card club. And this is Very Vanilla and Crumb Cake and Flirty Flamingo and Petal Pink. And I stamped with the Flirty Flamingo and the Petal Pink. And I used Espresso here, and this is Flirty Flamingo. And then the embossing folders, I used 2 separate ones on that one as well. And with this one, with the piece for the front sentiment, it's 4 by 2 3/4. So this is the picture I took for people that wanted to see what the dimensions were. So I'll just bring that up to the camera. I hope that's helpful. And again, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day.